are Gender Clash, episode 3.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Cruising along.
We are cruising right along. We're going to be at 100 by, next Christmas. So that'll be fun. No, hopefully a lot sooner than that. We're going to be at 500 episodes, and we're going to beat out Joe Rogan, who's got the top podcast on Spotify. That's our goal. We want to beat Joe Rogan. You know who Joe Rogan is?
No, who's that?
Oh my God, I can't believe I know someone and you don't.
He is a football player.
No. He's a comedian. He's done TV shows, and he's had a podcast for years. I mean, he doesn't mess around. He's an hour and a half, 2-hour podcast. He's got guests, and he talks about everything, whether it's funny stuff or look him up. Yeah.
All right.
So check us out on. We've now got Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and the podcast appears. You don't necessarily have to go to the podcast page if you don't want, but it appears on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of those. So let's jump right in. Got a couple of topics here. This one. In the last episode, there were two directions I wanted to go with the man making more money thing, and one I ended up going with one, which was, should the man feel insecure, or does the man feel insecure? This is the one that was on our list and we didn't get to, and I want to kind of bring it up now because you mentioned how you were uncomfortable with not being able to contribute as much, right. And then towards the end of that, when you went and got when you went back full time, we had a discussion. Like, you were miserable, but you also said that, I said, well, why didn't you just say something? I would have been happy to pay the bills. And you were like, well, you saw that I had trouble with this and that. You should have said something. So that leads into a great topic of why not? Yeah, this was given to me by a good friend we both know and love. Why not just say what you mean? Why do I need a treasure map to get to the point? So men, women think. So here's my take on men and women in a very general sense. Women are subtle. And they expect the man to be subtle too, right? They will give clues instead of just saying what they mean most of the time, and the man's supposed to pick up on it. But men are very direct and don't have a lot of subtlety to them, and they're expecting the same thing from a woman. So you have all these miscommunications because a guy is subtle, a guy is direct, expecting direct. The woman is subtle, expecting subtle, and the woman will think that when a man says something, he doesn't actually mean it, because when they say something, it's usually a euphemism for what they really mean. So all these miscommunications come from that. And the question in general is, why does a woman do that instead of just saying what she wants or needs? So I think that's an excellent one. We should have some fun with this one.
Okay. So are we going to talk about our specific example or just kind of in general? Okay.
Just in general.
Yes. Okay. So I just, so there are times where I get really frustrated with you because unless it's literally like blinking red lights in your face, you don't notice. And I'm like, holy mother of God, help me. But then I have heard from plenty of other women, they're like, this is just how men are. Like, they don't like things have to be literally in their face for them to notice it. Or you like have to literally say it. Like, you just can't beat around the bush. You can't.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And if I want to search for
Right.
If I want a quest, I'll go play Zelda. Okay. If I want clues to figure out the answer, I will go play a video game.
Simple you guys are. It just goes to show how simple
or different. Yeah. Well, it's simple is good. Just say what you mean. We'll do it. I mean, we don't have to play this whole.
But maybe saying certain things aren't that comfortable. So maybe giving little cues to kind of lead you into falling into where we want you to be at that moment.
No. But you just said yourself, you have to say it. When you were 17 and you didn't know better, go ahead and give all the clues you want, turn it into a video game, and then, the man will learn whatever. But, if you've learned that we're simple and all you need to do is be direct, then just be direct. Why does it turn into a treasure map every time?
Because because I guess we feel that certain things should just go unsaid. Like, it's so obvious. I'm like, I really had to say that to you? Like, really? Like, I really had to say that to you.
Apparently you did.
Oh my God. Well, listen, I was one of those people that read the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And it truly, truly helped me because for many, many years, and a lot of women get into this, is that we expect people, especially men, to think and act the way we would. Like, well, I would do that. So why wouldn't you do that? And that was such an eye-opener for me because men are as simple as vanilla ice cream. It
100%.
Yep. It is so it's so bizarre how that, like, how, like, we're both human beings, like we both have a brain, we both, I don't know, like we both breathe the same air, like what's the problem? But
There are 8
no.
billion people in the world, and they all view things differently. So if you expect someone to be just like you,
But I thought it
you're
was
going to be waiting.
gender, like men have all the same parts, women have all the same parts, why can't, it's like, I don't
No.
know. I just
Well,
felt like,
in
I don't know.
this instance, it's almost a stubborn, refusal to acknowledge the other side. Because I'm in my 50s. Obviously, I've had relationships for 35 some odd years now, and I still haven't learned completely. I've gotten much better. And as I said to you many times, you would not recognize the person I am now 5 years ago. Completely different, but it's still hard to believe that all of these little things are clues and not just just say it.
Right.
But women seem to, they seem to intellectually understand that men are simple, but they don't act on it, and I don't understand that at all. If you know this is the way to get something done, just do it. Just say, this is what I want done, whether
I
it's
think that we forget. I just think that we truly forget how simple men are and how we have to literally spell it out and have a chalkboard in the common area and literally put it on the chalkboard and say, "Hey, babe," and just write it out, because we just forget. Like sometimes we just think that it's just common sense. To me, it's common sense.
well, common sense would be to make clear what you want. It's called communication, right? So if you communicate
Ugh.
correctly, then you'll get what you want easier
Okay.
than if you leave a trail of breadcrumbs that leads to a place that where I still have to figure out where I am.
Then I should say, to me, it's just understood.
But clearly it's not.
Right,
Okay,
right,
right.
right. Yes, yes.
Clearly it is not understood. So, okay, so the answer is basically that in your head it makes sense, and you would think or hope, or maybe both, that the person you're dealing with, a man, would understand exactly what you want, and not not have to be told in a direct matter because you're uncomfortable saying something straight out.
Right. Because, well, maybe because, maybe it's because I'm proud. Maybe it's because, whatever, that it's just really uncomfortable for me to ask or to say certain things. So that was my own fault. Obviously, that was my fault. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like men are like, you can't be subtle with men. It's like, you got to be so direct. It's,
Yes, yes, yes. Remember in the early
oh,
days of our relationship? Yes,
yes.
yes, right? That's what we used to say when we would say something the other person agrees with, to go, yes. So
Yeah, see, but I just view you as such an intelligent. You're so, you're so in tune with so many things, and you're my voice of reason. So I'm just assuming that you're just thinking like I'm thinking, and you're just,
we think completely differently.
I
Not
know,
you and me, men and women in general.
I
And
know.
this subject is one we could probably talk for a friggin' hour on a million different
Mm-hmm.
examples. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, men are much more direct, and that extends to all parts of their life with their friends, right? You want to say something, you need something from your friend, boom, here it is. And whether it's an anger thing, you call your friend an idiot or a jerk. I'm not going to curse on here. I'm trying to keep this clean, this podcast somewhat clean, right?
Yes.
You're this, you're that. Then the friend looks at you, probably, when you're younger, you might punch you in the face, and then you go have a beer together, right? But a woman, when a
Oh,
woman says something bad to a woman, 40 years later, she's still a hoe, right? Or it's
oh,
your latest expression, stank hoe.
Stanko,
And this is one of,
Stanko.
I think we touched on this one in the first time we went around this. Like, my example is I had a guy when I was like 10, 11 years old who used to try and bully me. And then one day I punched him in his face, and that was done. We got into a big fight. And then from then on, we were friends. The next 10 years, we were friends. We did things together, whatever. A woman, right? A girl, because we're going to go back to high school now, doesn't invite someone to a party, right? And 20 years later, that other girl is a stank hoe because she didn't invite her to a party. It's like, are you serious? It's 20 years later. You're still thinking about that? But that's the indirect thing women do, is they don't just go at the person. And if they do go at the person, then they're thinking about it 30 years later, and they will never let it go. And that's
Yeah.
all related to the subtle versus the not subtle. Like, men
We're
are
just
not
catty.
subtle at
We
all.
just like
Right.
to talk about people behind their back. We just like to stir up drama and be like, can you believe what she did? Rather than just going directly to the person and saying, listen, this is what, and I am learning how to do this because of you, because there's been several situations where I've just been like so angry, and you're like, why don't you just go talk to the person and just tell them? I'm like, no, they should know. And
No, they
right.
don't.
So I am learning how to handle situations where before you, it would have blown up. It would have just been a
You would
big,
have ignored it for 10 years until somehow you
right.
reconciled again, right?
Right. Either I don't talk to the person, or it just would have been a big poopy show because I just would have gone off the deep end. So now I'm learning how to take a step back, rethink things, and you're the psyche in my mind telling me why people do what they do and how they're
Yes.
thinking, and
Mhm.
what I do to contribute to the situation, because obviously, I'm not perfect. I mean, I thought I was up until I met you, but I'm obviously not perfect.
You're close, baby. You're close.
So yeah, so it's yeah, I just don't understand. And it was such an eye opener for me to read this book, ladies. So ladies, if you're struggling, and if you don't get it, and read the book. And I know it's such a cliche book and people really make fun of it. I'm telling you, it was life-changing for me. I cried reading some of the stuff because it was a big eye opener for me. And I was like, oh my God, like I ruined that moment, or I ruined that relationship because of my own actions and my own thought process and what I expected that was totally insane and so out of line, because men don't think that way. And they
So,
didn't mean to be mean. They didn't mean to do what they
right.
did. They don't have.
But we're direct. We're direct. So something that to you might seem to be an affront because you would do it a different way makes it seem like they're being a jerk when they're really not. They're just
Right,
being them. Now,
right,
yeah, and this leads to a really good point that somewhere in there I thought of it, and I wanted to wait for it was my turn to speak, obviously. But the thing I've noticed with you, and we can probably attribute this to most women, since this is a true gender clash type of a subject, is a lot of times you react to things based on what you think the person's doing because that's what you would
mm,
do or you would say. But in reality, this is one of the things I try and get across to you is people think differently. It doesn't mean that they're coming at you or they're doing this or they're doing that. A lot of times not just you, but people in general take what they see at total face value and assume the worst. People always assume the worst instead of assuming that there might be a different thing. There could be a reason. Person having a bad day. They may be just being more direct than you'd like, whatever. But the important thing is that people think differently, even outside men and women. So when something angers you or offends you or anything like that, sometimes it is not that way. And that's some of the ways I try and calm you down when you get upset about something. I'm like, they may not have meant it that way. You gotta take a step back and realize it may not be what you think. And I think and that kind of flies in the face of what I'm thinking, because I'm like direct and here I am telling you there's subtleties involved, but it
right.
doesn't make sense. But that's the way it is most times it's
I
not what you
just
think.
I just feel like there's things like common sense. There's things like, being aware and being, and just thinking about other people before you do something or like say something. Like, come on, like there's just courtesy, right? Like, and I feel like a lot of people just don't have that. People are very self-absorbed. People, and I could be that way too at times, but I don't know. Like, I
Well,
just feel like,
speaking for us, okay, you have a mind like a trap. If something is said to you, it needs to be done a certain way, you keep that and you do it that way, and you don't allow outside things to kind of make you lose your focus, right? Me, I'm the opposite. I have so many things going on at sometimes, whether it's personal things, business things. I mean, I could, and I could
you
literally be
can't
doing something.
focus for more than two
Well,
seconds.
it's
Yeah.
not that I can't focus. I just I have a lot of things, but that with all the things I have going on at any time of day, whether it's 2 a.m. or 1 in the afternoon, I can do something that is related to what I'm doing, whether it's a hobby or work stuff. And I generally, it's not that I can't focus as much. It's just that I don't really like retain everything that's said to me. I try to, but it doesn't always work that way. So it might seem that I'm not paying attention, or it might seem this, but I that's where you and me are very different in
You
that
used to retain a lot of stuff.
I still retain things, but
Like
no,
things that are important to you.
well, important to me maybe, and but there's other
So
things like
lately, a lot of things haven't been important to you.
Well, no, I think lately there's a lot of times where you'll come up and I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of things. I'm listening with half an ear and I miss some of them. I admit that that happens because there are a lot of times when I'm doing something, you come over and just we'll just start to chat. And that one of the things I love
I think
about
it's because
us
you're always
is
doing something though.
I know, but well, there's plenty of times it's just you and me, whether we're eating, which we don't eat together a lot, or we're on the couch, or whatever. Those times we just spend time together. We don't do a lot of talking. But
Right.
and I will preface this by saying it's one of the things I love about us is you at any given time when things are good with us, which they have been for a while, you will just chit chat with me about everything, whether it's your day,
Right.
whether it's your
I
friends,
know.
whatever.
Blah,
And I
blah,
like that.
blah,
But
blah, blah.
right, which no, I love that. I
And
like
you're
that.
like Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah,
I know.
wah.
But the point is a lot of those times when it's just you and me, we don't talk about those things. We just chill when I'm doing something else. Like if I'm in the middle of a work day and I'm not on a call and you come and tell me something, I am not always 100% attention because I have things going on. So some of those things I don't retain. Then 2 weeks later, you'll be like, well, I told you this. I'm like, I don't think you did. And then you'll say, remember
I
this? And I'm like,
did.
well, I kind of vaguely remember the conversation. I don't remember
Hmm.
that specifically. Yes, you're right. There are times when that, because generally I'm all over the place. But in a general sense, women want to kind of play a video game to get their point across, and the men want to basically have the answer in front of them. And I don't know. I don't know how much further we can take this, but it is clear that that's the case. And until someone takes that step to say, okay, I am going to understand what the other person's thinking at all times and be aware of it, which who knows if that's even possible. It's like changing your way of thinking. There will be these little misunderstandings
Yeah,
forever.
see, but someone like me who's so brutally honest and just cuts to the chase, when I don't do that, it's because it's something that's really uncomfortable for me to admit or to, like actually talk about. So I think that also has to come into play because I am brutally honest. Like I don't sugarcoat anything unless I have to be politically correct about some things. But, I just cut to the chase. Like I just say it.
Well,
And
that's kind of the anomaly about you is you if I ask you a
no,
question or I give you a situation, you're brutally honest to the point where I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Even it sounds like you're trashing people and you're just speaking your truth, right? But
right.
at the same time, you'll still be subtle
Right.
about things, and afterwards you'll say, well, that was kind of common sense. You should have known that. And I'm like, over here you'll be so honest that I have to hold in my anger because you're talking about people I know like this, and I'm like,
Right.
wow, but you don't necessarily mean it towards them. You're just being honest. And at other times, I got to sit there and compare clues with a magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes. It doesn't.
Well,
It's
those
not
times it's
consistent.
because it's not comfortable for me to be brutally honest about something because maybe I'm just having to admit like a weakness about myself or like a shortcoming or something like that where I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I
But
would like
I
to
am
think
more
I'm
aware of it
consistent.
now, so I will try. I will just be brutally honest.
I like to think I'm pretty consistent. I don't fluctuate that much with those things. I'm straight down the middle. I am not a confrontational person unless I have to. So I am
Right.
not going to just be confrontational here and be totally honest. Like a good example with you and me is if something happens with one of our families, you'll be like bah, 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 like boom boom boom, and I try and be a little bit more diplomatic. I'll be like, well,
You're my voice of reason, and
yes, right,
you try to get into their head, and you try to
right, but that
psychoanalyze them and say, "Well, they didn't mean it personally. This is just how they are." And I'm like,
right,
"No."
right, you have to accept reality. And if someone is a certain way but they're coming at you differently, then yes, it's personal. But if they're a certain way with everything, you can't take that personally. You can be upset about it, but I don't think you should let it live in your head for that long, because it's not personal. That's just my opinion. And that goes right back to men being able to forgive someone for doing something, and women holding on to it until they're on their deathbed or walking with a walker, still trashing the girl who didn't invite them to their 16th birthday
Remember
party,
that
right?
time? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Stanko didn't invite me. She invited everybody. She invited that other Stanko, but not me. Okay. All right, let's move on.
All right,
I think we did a pretty good job with that one.
we
Okay.
pounded that one.
All right. Yeah. Okay. This one, I don't know. This is going to be along the same lines as the income thing, but when buying presents for each other, is there an expectation that the same amount of money is spent either way? Do you have to be equal value? So if I go spend $200 on Christmas for you, do you feel the need to spend 200 on me, or do you not even think about it? Or we'll try and attribute this to other people as well, but let's start with our thoughts on it.
Um, no, like I never feel obligated to spend a certain amount of money thinking, oh my God, he is going to go all out and spend all this money on me. Like I just try to get you things that I feel like you want, I feel like you need. But, like I don't put a price tag on it, but obviously, I'm not going to ever overextend myself and purchase something that's completely out of my budget unless
Just
you
keep
really,
up, right?
really wanted it, unless it was something that you really, really want. And then I will just plan ahead. I'm like, all right, I have to save for this thing because he really, really wants this and I really want to get it for him, But no, I personally do not feel obligated to spend a certain amount because I think you're going to spend that amount on me. No, I mean, I clearly know our roles in this relationship. Like I know that you make more money than me and I'm completely okay with that because I feel like I hold my own. So I don't ever feel like I have to keep up with the Joneses with you. No.
Right. You're not going and buying gifts for me with my money.
No,
Right.
I buy things for the house with our money, but I don't
I
go
know.
buying gifts for you with our money. No,
No, I know.
no.
And I was making that a joke because obviously a stay-at-home husband or wife who doesn't have an income is buying gifts for the other person with that person's money. That was
Right,
the joke,
right.
right?
No,
So,
no.
well, the flip side, and this is just me, I would if you went out and got me something super crazy and it was expensive, I would feel inadequate if I didn't spend close to that amount. And that may be a chauvinistic thing. It may be
It goes
I have
back to everything else. Society put that
yeah.
in your head. Yeah.
Well, no, that I don't know if it's I don't know if that's a man woman thing. That to me is just me. You know how I am. I don't like to owe anything. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like to. I don't like to feel like I'm having something done for me that I can't return. I just don't like that. I have a lot of friends, and roles reverse. Some friends because they need more, I do more. There's other friends throughout my life who have done more for me than I've done for them.
Right.
That kind of just happens. In this type of situation, I would feel I do that with you see what we do for my parents on Christmas. It's like,
Oh my God, I
they've
know.
done so much for us. Why would I cheap out? That kind of thing. It's just I myself don't
No,
like
but
to
your
appear like
parents make me uncomfortable with their gifts. I'm like, oh my God, Jesus
I just don't like
Christ.
to feel like I'm shortchanging anybody. That's just how I am. And I feel that if you
No,
had gone and gotten me something really big, I would feel I have to keep up. Yes.
no, but I don't think that you should feel like you're purposely shortchanging. I mean, do you really should like you really put a monetary value to a gift rather than the thought behind it? And I know that's so cliche, but
Should or would.
I
Because they
mean,
shouldn't.
you
I
would,
shouldn't.
right, right.
But I do.
Like perfect example, like my like mom, like the frame that I gave her with like a wedding picture of ours, that was, and like the card that I gave her
She
was
practically
so much.
cried. Right.
She cried
Yeah.
from the other gifts that were so much more expensive, like the gift that my brother gave her, or like
Yeah.
the gift
I-
card that I gave her was so much more than that frame that I put our picture in, and the card that said Merry Christmas, Mom.
right.
She was like in tears and was like holding that frame
Right.
towards her chest for like 15 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, it's just a
Dear
picture.
mom from Maritza, and she
Yeah.
cried. That was.
No, I put,
I
we love
know.
you
I know.
very much.
I'm just kidding.
Love Rob and the kids. Yeah.
Like
No,
Rob,
but
the
it was
kids, the
just,
fur babies.
yeah. But no, it's, so certain things that have a lot of sentimental value mean so much more than than like putting a price tag on it too. So like
That's
if
Scooby's contribution. Hey,
Scooby's
Scoob.
contribution, I know. So like, so just say for instance, like if you was to go out there and buy me like a $5,000 bag, all right, that's great. But if you was to give me an item that belonged to your mom or something like that, that holds such sentimental value, I would bawl my eyes out
Right.
for that gift rather than the $5,000 bag that I had to return anyway.
$5,000. Get the hell out of here. You're getting a little crazy now. Well, I hear you.
There are bags that are worth $5,000.
Yes, I know. Unfortunately, they all have some kind of animal
I
hide
can't
attached to
partake
them.
in them. I know.
Yeah, that's a funny story, but we'll do that another time.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know. Like me, if you had gotten me a $5,000 bag, and obviously you're not going to get me a bag, but as an example, I would feel like, oh crap, I better get out there and buy some stuff. That's just me. I realize it's wrong. I realize I don't know if it's an insecurity or a macho thing, whichever one it is. I would feel inadequate and feel
How
like
would
I have
you
to
do
keep
that
up.
though? Because if we were exchanging Christmas gifts and if I gave you a $5,000 item and you spent $500 on me, you can't go out there and buy me more stuff.
I would end up
too
finding
late.
a way to make up to you somehow.
Oh,
I don't know. That's just how I am. I hear it. I don't know if other men think like this. Usually I like to think that I am at least speaking for the average guy. There's too many people in the world for
no,
it to
there's
be
a lot of cheap
everybody.
people
But
out there. There's a
No,
lot of
I
very
hear you.
frugal, cheap people out there that don't care.
I hear you, but in general, there's so many people in the world. Nothing we're ever going to say is going to apply to everybody because there's just too many
Right.
people. But I would like to think that most of what we're doing would speak for at least the people we know
The
and have
majority.
lived with, and just like an average thing. And it's fun at the worst case. Like we've made it clear we're not here to give advice, and we're certainly not any psychological experts. It's just our opinions. But I don't know what other people think. This is just my thing. If someone got me something so amazingly nice and expensive, and I hadn't spent anywhere near that on them, I would feel uncomfortable and
No,
feel bad.
yeah. I think that I would too. I mean, I think that if, like my friends would have given me something and, and I only spent like $50 on her and she spent like $200, I would have been like, oh my God, I feel like such a schmuck right now. But I don't feel that way with you.
Well, I feel on.
I try my best to
You do a great job. I love your
Yeah.
gifts. They're always good. There's never been like, except some of the jackets, those things, they don't fit or
I
whatever.
know.
But you try.
I
The
could
rest of
never do a winter jacket for you. I
know.
try.
I know.
Thinking of, we got to go return that one.
Yes, let's go return that one, and I'll pick one I like. All
Okay.
right. So
That you like.
yeah, I have to be honest. I mean, I don't love the ones
Well,
with
okay, talk about
the
being direct.
I
You
have
tell
been.
me
I
that.
don't like those ones with the lining inside because they're
Well,
uncomfortable
because
and they
I
get all
want to
caught
do it
up.
like a 2-in-1. Like I want you to have like a winter jacket that's really warm, and then when it starts getting warmer out, you can take out the lining, and it's like a springy jacket. No,
Well, I mean,
failed.
I haven't found one that I like
Failed
yet because
twice. I know.
I haven't found one I like yet because they get uncomfortable, they get tangled up. It's
I
impossible.
know.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I'm
Okay.
not getting you coats ever again.
All right, here's a fun one. This should wrap up this episode. This should take a few minutes. The way it was phrased to me is, and the big one, does that dress actually make you look fat, or is it your fat that makes you look fat? Now, that is I certainly don't want to get into the actual way it looks. I want to explore the man versus woman thing. Why does the woman decide to ask a question she doesn't want the answer to? Because if you only want to be told you look good, then just say, hey, don't I look good? The guy's absolutely going to say yes. If you say, does this dress make me look fat? He is in a no-win situation. Unless of course you look awesome. He's got to either say, yeah, babe, you look great, or he's got to say, I don't know, you look a little chunky, in which case you're not speaking to him for 3 weeks. So why would you ask a question you don't want that answer to?
So I am my worst known critic. I don't know if I have, like body dysmorphia, dysmorphia. Is that how you say it?
I
Whatever.
think so. Body dysmorphia.
Yeah. So, I would never, I mean, if I ask you a question, it's because I want you to be really honest with me, because maybe I'm not seeing something that you're seeing, so like if I feel uncomfortable, or if I'm like, oh my God, does this look okay? I truly want you to be honest with me. And I think that I'm secure enough in our relationship where I wouldn't take it so terrible. But like, if you tell me after the fact, like if you tell me like 3 weeks later after I wore that outfit and I went out in public and you would have been like, oh yeah, that outfit wasn't really so hot, I would have been like, why didn't you tell me? Right. So, but,
you never ask those questions anyway. I don't think there's been any time where you say, hey, do I look fat in this thing? Yeah.
Because I don't ever leave my house feeling super uncomfortable or like not feeling, I just wear what feels comfortable. Like I don't ever want to put something on where I have to keep on fixing myself or making sure that my boob isn't hanging. Like I don't wear stuff like that. So I don't put myself in that predicament. But, there's been plenty of times where I've been, like in between sizes. So yeah, like some things fit tighter than others, but I don't think I've ever asked you if I look fat.
No, you never have. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to necessarily concentrate on the actual question itself. I want to talk about why women, and this could go back to the subtle thing. Maybe we're rehashing that. Why would a woman ask a question that if the answer is what she might think it's going to be, she's going to be insulted and angry that the guy answered her honestly?
It's a booby trap.
You think so? Well, look who I'm asking. Why would I even say you think so? I mean, I'm asking you for a reason. It's a booby.
I don't know. I mean,
explain it.
I think that we want you to be honest with us, but some women can't take the truth. So I think if you're asking a question, then you have to be prepared to hear either, no, you look beautiful, or no, babe, like you probably shouldn't wear that top, or you probably should. Okay. Perfect example was when I put something on and I'm self-conscious about like my lower little pouch. And what you said to me, you're like, well, maybe you shouldn't wear stuff that shows that. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I
Right.
shouldn't, because
But
then I see myself in pictures and I'm like, oh my God, there goes my kangaroo pouch. Like,
that's
what
a
the
little different.
hell?
That's a little different because you're uncomfortable about what you call the kangaroo pouch. That's funny.
I do
You're
have a
uncomfortable.
kangaroo pouch.
You're uncomfortable about that. So I say, so don't wear something that's going to show it. You did
Right.
not. You did not wear something that shows it. And I said, oh, babe, that thing's hanging over like a freaking tire,
No, it's just
tire
like
rim. You know?
seeing myself in pictures and I'm like, ugh.
Right. So that's not necessarily the same thing. That's just me being logical. That's where the man's logical, the woman's emotional. You're
Right.
like,
You're like,
well, and I'm
duh.
like, well, then just don't wear it if you're uncomfortable. That is not a direct answer to how you look. That is, if you don't like it, don't do it. Seems easy. Why not? Just don't do it if you don't like it, you know?
I think that women, if they ask their significant other that question, then they have to be secure enough in themselves to get an answer that they may not appreciate or they may not like to hear. Because if you're asking the question, then you
You
expect
already
an
know the
honest.
answer.
And well, there are times. No, I mean,
Oh, so if you don't know the answer, if you don't know the answer, then you're looking in the mirror and you're not being honest with yourself, or you just want validation. If you look at it and say, "Hey, I know I look good in this dress," then you're asking the question just to get a compliment. If you know you look bad in it, you're setting your little booby trap where the guy's going to say, "I don't know, baby, you look heavy," and then you're gonna not you, women in general, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, he said I'm fat," and they're going to cry over it for a week. That's
no, but
that's where the trap is. Is you generally know what you look like looking in the mirror for the most part.
right, right.
Right. So
I
if you
guess.
know you look good, you're just looking for a compliment. That's fine.
Well, looking good and feeling good are two totally different things too. So maybe you feel good in it, but you're like, oh, this doesn't really look so appropriate, but I feel okay. So let me just get an opinion. Right?
I don't know. You know me. I look in the mirror, I see something totally different than you do. So I'll ask your opinion because you have a better sense for the way something looks, and I don't even think about it. So you'll be like, wait, you can't wear that
Yeah.
or
Like,
this
no,
or that.
babe,
Right.
like
Right. It's
put the boots
wrinkled
on.
or
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Put
Different
the
shoes.
boots
Right.
on. Yeah.
Right. And but I think that hypersensitivity to the way things look from a woman's point of view means when they look in the mirror and see themselves, they already know whether they look good or not. So for the most part, I mean,
Right.
but for the most part, I think a woman looks and says, "Hey, I look pretty good. Hey, honey, does this make me look fat?" And if the guy, for whatever reason, thinks it does, then she's going to be like, "Oh my God!" Or if you know you look good, you're looking for a compliment. That's fine. But when the answer is, I really might look fat in this, or I really don't look good. It doesn't have to be about the fat. You're asking a question you don't really want the answer to.
I think it's a
Why would you
stupid
do that?
question then. I
Right.
think
Why
it's a
would you do
stupid
that?
question. Yeah. Like, I don't know why you would ask your husband or your significant other if you look fat, if you think yourself that you look a little chunky. Right.
If you can't handle the answer, don't ask the question. That's the
Right.
simplest thing. But people
Right.
do anyway. People do anyway. They need all kinds of affirmation, which we talked about this on the last one. People get on Facebook just to have people go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, hang in there. Things are gonna be great." Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
people do that.
Or checking into the hospital and they don't say what's wrong. I
Right.
can't
Oh my
stand
God,
that.
OMG, what happened? Oh my
OMG,
God.
speedy
And then
recovery.
everybody's
What?
got the prayer hands up and they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
prayers to you and your
God.
like
Give me a
recently a
break.
couple of friends of mine have lost their moms on Facebook. So sad. But you
Oh,
see this list of people saying the same exact thing. My
I
prayers to you and your
know.
family. So sorry this, so sorry
I
that. Like,
know.
I mean, and I have to contribute to that because I've seen it. And if I see it, I
Yeah.
feel like I have
And
to
you
say
feel like
something.
you
But
have to say something,
right.
right?
But it's this whole long list of people saying the
Ugh.
exact same thing. And this is
Do
I
they
don't
really
know.
mean it? So that's why you don't put stuff like that on Facebook. Like,
I
people
think
that are
yeah.
in your personal life will know what's going on, and that's all that matters. You
Yeah, I
don't
think
need
yeah.
like a high school friend expressing their condolence to you. It doesn't mean anything.
I hear you, but I think a lot of the people do mean it. But I really think most people don't even know what to say anymore. There's only so many different ways you could say, "Oh my God, I'm really sorry. My thoughts are with you. Prayers for you and your family." There's like 5 different things you could say. So once 100 people have responded, what are you supposed to do? You
Right.
have to chip in because you saw it and you feel bad ignoring
Right.
it. Yeah, it's
Right.
just right.
That's how
So
I feel about birthdays. It's like someone from like I went to high school with that I probably saw in passing it in the hallway, but now we're Facebook friends. I have to say happy birthday because it's their birthday. That's why I don't
you
put my
don't have
birthday on
to.
Facebook.
Yeah, no,
It's like it's so irrelevant. I don't need 500 people wishing me a happy birthday because 80% of them don't mean it. People who know my birthday are going to text me or call me.
That is a fair point. That is a fair
Right?
point. I wish everybody a happy birthday. I have the little things that come up that tell me I wish everyone a happy birthday. If they wish me one, great. I don't care either way. I'm
I
not going to be
miss
insulted if you don't.
80% of those birthday things because it's just like, I
don't know. Mine comes up every day. Maybe because I wish people happy birthday. It makes it more prominent on my feed.
I don't get it up until that person says, "Oh, thank you everyone
Thanks
for my birthday." And then I'm like, "Oh, oops, happy birthday." It's like, I didn't know your birthday before Facebook came along. So, like, what did we do before social media?
You had to know the person's birthday. Now Facebook tells you when it's your birthday. Just like I didn't know people's political affiliations before the last 5 years, right? I didn't know. I only knew my close friends' birthdays, and then you'd maybe go out for drinks with them or do something, right? But the other people, I didn't know their birthday. You find out a week later.
I can count in one hand the people's birthdays that I knew that were friends, and then obviously like my mother, my siblings, my niece, nephew, people like that. But other than that, like you just don't. Wish people
there you go.
An empty happy birthday. It's such an empty wish. Happy birthday.
There's sometimes the thought that counts. If someone, out of 600 Facebook friends, I have almost 700, whatever it is. If usually it's about 150 to 200 take the time to wish me happy birthday. I feel good. It's like because I just do. I'm not going to be angry at the one. Right. I'm not going to be angry at the ones who don't. But I thought that counts. Someone who took the time to actually write happy birthday, I think they actually mean it. And,
I feel like Facebook can turn that around, and you expect like your closest friend to wish you a happy birthday, and they don't.
My closest friends will text me. Generally, on my email, the panel. On the panel, there's 8 of us now. We added Keith. What's up, Keith? We added Keith. We generally will send an email wishing a happy birthday, and then everybody chimes in and says happy birthday. That for me is good enough, and that's separate from Facebook. But the acknowledgement is, for me, I don't expect it. I will not be angry at someone who doesn't do it, but the fact that someone does do it makes me feel good, and I appreciate it.
I put my closest friends, their birthdays are in my phone on a calendar that gives me an alert, because let's face it, like there are times where you can forget somebody's birthday, like not like your birthday, but like I can forget, like a close friend of mine, like I'm like, oh my God, it's but thank God for that I can put the little alert. It was just like a coworker of mine who we were really good friends. We were working together and she came to work looking so pretty. And I'm like, oh my God, you look like so great today. Like, what's the occasion? What's the occasion? It was her freaking birthday. And I completely forgot. How scummy of me.
Hey, happy birthday. An hour later. Why are you so dressed up?
Right.
What the hell are you so dressed up for? What are you going to a funeral? What are you doing?
Right. So it was like, oh my God, that's crazy. So yeah. That whole Facebook thing and that whole
it all ties
making people feel good about themselves or inflating their ego or, oh, thank you for the birthday wishes. It made me feel so loved. Oh, come on. Stop it.
I have the greatest. Well, listen, I've done that because the first couple of years where people were really sending happy birthdays, I was overwhelmed. I was like, listen, thank you everybody so much. I actually meant it. The last couple of years, I haven't done that because I don't want that to be a habit where I have to now get on and do that. No, what I do instead is I will thank everybody individually. I will go in there and click like and say thanks so much and boom, boom, boom. So I make sure I touch everybody individually. I no longer have to send a Facebook message to the entire world that alerts the people that don't know, and suddenly they have to feel bad and say, oh, happy birthday, like a day later.
I don't even like posting oh, thank you to everybody who made my birthday feel special, because then I'm going to get 50 comments about happy birthday, no.
That's exactly what I just said. And that's what I won't do anymore, because then it's insincere. If someone sees me say, thanks for the birthday wishes, you were the greatest fans, you all made me feel so good, then 50 people are going to wish you happy birthday because they came across this post and felt bad. Right. That's not the ones I want. That's not the ones I want. The ones who actually took the time out to wish me a happy birthday are appreciated, and I will go thank them individually on their post.
The ones that text me, the ones that put it on my page at 12 a.m. on my birthday. Those are the people who genuinely mean it, who have it on their mind before Facebook told them that it was my birthday.
Exactly.
And those are the people that are deserving and worthy, and I'm genuinely thankful for their wishes.
Going forward, I am sending you a post at 12:01 a.m. and that's all you're getting. All right, just to show you how much I'm thinking about your birthday. No card, no gift. The hell with this. Your gift is me remembering Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, that was pretty good. We got completely
Yeah.
into a different subject that was
How
related and
long
took
was
up a
that?
bunch of.
Oh, 39 minutes.
Yeah, we're
That's
almost
good.
40 minutes now. Look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody, check us out on every major podcast thing, Spotify,
Please
Apple Music. Yes.
comment,
Please, comments,
interact.
topics. We need some topics. I mean, we just one more thing before we go. We watch a show. I'm not going to name it because I'm not going to get into plugs, but we watch a show that is filled with things that we could talk about. Usually happens around the second or third episode, and we're only on the second now. So we will have other topics of our own, but it is important to have your topics, something you're interested in. We could come up with
Yes.
topics all day long, but it may not feel personal or may not interest you. Please go to the Gender Clash discussion group attached to our page. Like the page, jump into the discussion group, talk about this, give us topics, converse about it. Let's make this a thing. This is a lot of fun, and we want everybody involved. Okay,
And
so
we're not here to give you advice, but we can help you
No.
through a difficult situation, or we can give you, we can give you our thoughts,
or we can cause a bigger fight by taking
or we can
sides.
cause a bigger fight. But
So listen, if you want to roll the dice, all right, let's go. Forget the casino. Come to Gender Clash. Roll
There
the
you
dice
go.
on whether or not we're going to help you or hurt you. Okay,
Are you looking for a big fight or a brawl? Listen
for
to
a
Gender
brawl.
Clash.
This is the place to come, baby. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, guys.